everyone, Care Bear here to share with you these motorcycle mittens, Harley Davidson mittens that I recently finished and am ready to gift for the fall. These mittens are by Jorid Linvik, and I have made in the past Jorid's hat for the Harley Davidson. And so I went looking on the site and I found the pattern for the mittens. And so I thought I have to buy it and make these. So what I will tell you, same as with the hat, the mittens are for the Harley Davidson, the Honda, Suzuki, and Yamaha. So when you buy the one pattern, you have the instructions for all those different motorcycle enthusiasts. So if you have someone in your family who is a motorcycle rider, you might want to check out this website, and I put the link below. So let me tell you a little bit about these mittens. They call for fingering weight yarn, a US 1.5, 2.5 millimeter, or up to a US 2.5 or 3 millimeter. And it's one pattern, and you alter the size by the weight of the yarn and the size of the needles. So the yarn that I used for these is called the Gathering Yarn, the Farmer, which is, and here's, it's a charcoal one that I used. I think the colorway is 504. It's not black, it's more of a charcoal. And this is a 6-ply sock yarn that's 60% fine Highland wool, 20% alpaca, and 20% nylon. So I knew it was going to be a little bit thicker than, uh, you know, fingering 3-ply, 4-ply sock yarn. And so I kept that in mind when I started. And for the cream color, I'm using this cone 3-ply, very thin lacy yarn, and I held it double because it was 3-ply and I wanted it to work with that 6-ply. So I rolled a ball and then I held that double. And I had a little bit of a thin orange. I don't even know where this comes from. I don't know even the this yarn, the make of it, because a friend of mine bought this at a thrift shop for $4. And there's about 500 grams on here. So it's a lot of a yarn. And I definitely will use it for mittens. So I used 43 grams of that charcoal for these mittens, and I used 20 grams of the lace that I held double, and it is a cuff to finger construction. You start with the cuff, a knit 2, purl 2, and I started with a 2.5 millimeter. And as I moved into this first chart where it has the Harley, and then in the second mitten, the Davidson naming there, that's a chart. And then there's a second chart for the body further up in the mitten. And when I got into, so I used 2.5 millimeter on the cuff. And then when I moved into the first chart, the chart actually gradually increases on the side where you have the thumb, because it's increasing for that gusset. And as I was working through that chart, I was measuring the width, because in the pattern, they talked about for a large, for a male, it would be about 11 centimeters wide. So I was measuring to see if I was getting 11 centimeters. And my plan was, if I wasn't meeting that, I would increase to a 3 millimeter needle or 2.75. But I got it. So I just stayed with 2.5 millimeter throughout the entire mitten. So the first chart takes you all the way into the naming here. You're knitting the front and the back of the mitten, working through that color, the naming, and that orange color again. And then you get into right where you up to the thumb part, you put the thumb on hold, and then you move to the next chart. And the next chart is focused on this portion of the front and this road. I think it looks road-like. Texture or color work in the back. And what I love about this pattern, and I've never made mittens by this designer before. I've done the hat, but I'm going back to the website because I love the way they laid out the charts. They actually show you how many needles on, or how many stitches on each needle, and they have a vertical line where you should break and put the stitches on the needles. And it's and they show you where the increases happen, and it's just really well laid out. I have knit a lot of patterns like this before, and they haven't had those vertical lines showing you how to set up on the needles, and I found that really, really helpful. Yeah, and then I just moved throughout this pattern, the front and the back. At one point up here, where is it? Right here, those two black circles, that's the headlights. And they did show in the pattern a golden or a mustard color that could be used for those. I just continued on with black, and I thought if I want to, I do have a golden yarn or a mustard yarn, I could go back and duplicate stitch. But I decided, no, I think I'm just going to leave it black and white. I kind of like that. Then I moved all the way up here. This orange here, the HD for the Harley Davidson, I did not put in. I just had it plain white there. And I continued on all the way up to this point where you start to decrease on the right and the left, the back and the front, and it's a knit two together. And at the other side, it is a slip one, knit one, pass over. So pretty simple, decrease right on the edge of each of those needles. And then I went back and picked up for the thumb and did the thumb in the round, um, following again a separate chart for the right and the left thumb, all the way up into the point where the same decreases happen on the left and the right. They also show you how to do those decreases. Look at that thumb, like it's brilliant because the bottom portion of that roadway is a different pattern. And then when it changes, it also changes in the thumb. And I just think that's great. So that when it is up this way, you have that same texture or same color work. Beautiful, beautiful design by this designer. So once I had the thumb finished, I went in and quickly sewed in the ends for the orange and then the black and white at the top. I did have to do Kitchener stitch at the very top of the mitten. At the top of the thumb, you just pull it through with a darning needle and then pull to the inside and sew it down. And yeah, then I went back and she has a number of charts in the pattern for Suzuki, for Honda, different symbols that you have the option to put in that section. And I just chose to duplicate stitch. And I think I have a link in the description below if you don't know how to duplicate stitch. It's really easy to learn. And there's a link to a YouTube directive that can help you with that. And I just did the duplicate stitch on the front of both the left and the right mitten for that Harley Davidson piece. And yeah, that was it. And the beauty was because of the yarn on the cone and the yarn on that big skein of the charcoal, I didn't have too much to sew in. That's what the inside looks like. There's not large floats, like it's beautifully designed so that you have really, really easy floats in the back. Would I make these again? Oh yeah, I have a family member and a friend who both have Harleys, and I think these are going to be really well received. The hats were really well received. And when I visited this website, and you can check out the link below, there were so many other great patterns that I saw there. And now that I see the way this pattern was structured for the mittens, I'm going to visit doing mittens for by this designer definitely again. So check out the links below. Um, Thanks for watching. I'm so excited to share these with you, and I'll be super excited to gift these in the fall. Thanks for joining me. Bye.